Let us talk about Bangladesh's telephone equipment making company called Telephone Shilpa Samstha. In partnership with Siemens, this institution was established in 1960s, basically to manufacture electromagnetic relays-based telephone exchanges and also telephone sets. In 1940s and 1950s, telephone companies in the Western world, they perfected the making of automatic telephone exchange based on electromechanical technologies. And that type of product started diffusing in developing countries in 60s. So as the import substitution strategy at that time, Telephone Shilpa Samstha was established to make telephone switches. And as the labor content in making electromechanical devices was quite high, so it was also a economically attractive proposition to make those devices locally. But in 1940s, AT&T was desperate to replace electromechanical telephone switches with solid states or electronics. And that led to the invention of transistor in 1947. In 1950s, already Western telephone companies succeeded in developing transistor-based or solid-state switching-based telephone switches, telephone exchanges, which became far more reliable, far less costly, and also far more compact than electromechanical switching-based telephone exchanges. But Telephone Shilpa Samstha adopted electromechanical technology because it was labor intensive, and Siemens was willing to transfer that technology to a developing country to enable them to make their own telephone exchanges. But just within a span of 10 years, electronic telephone switches started diffusing in developing countries. And electronic telephone exchanges were far better, and imported telephone exchanges were even cheaper than what Telephone Shilpa Samstha was producing in Bangladesh. As a result, the economic attractiveness of making telephone exchange in Bangladesh started losing its value. Unfortunately, though Telephone Shilpa Samstha was quite successful in making electromechanical telephone exchanges, but Telephone Shilpa Samstha didn't pay attention to the growth of electronics, to growth of microprocessors, to growth of software-centric telephone exchange, and generating ideas and redesigning existing telephone exchanges to leverage the emergence of computer-based telephone exchanges. As a result, by the middle of 80, the organization found no relevance to its existence. And later on, the organization went to make different things, including in a recent move to make laptop computers. But the point is, the value addition out of making components and assembling them together has significantly deteriorated over the years. As a result, that economic contribution made by this kind of approach, it has basically evaporated. Unfortunately, Telephone Shilpa Samstha didn't change its focus from labor-centric component making and assembling to intellectual asset base or idea base or patent based redesign of their telephone equipments to make them as a globally competitive telephone equipment maker. And that is the reason these countries fail to create high-paying jobs, quality jobs for their engineering graduates, because they do not focus on innovating next generation technology equipments out of ideas, where ideas are produced through research and where science and engineering graduates are engaged. Often they complain about the quality of the graduates, But it doesn't matter what kind of quality of graduates we supply. If their strategy is to make things out of labor, then what is the relevance of quality graduates? Basically, these institutions, these countries need to change their strategy from making to innovating. Until and unless they do, neither they do create sustained path of growth for themselves, not they succeed to create job opportunities for the growing number of science of engineering graduates. So it is the urgency to change the strategy of adding value to industrial products. And that is the vital thing for these countries, for this institution to focus on. And I hope that in coming days, they will realize, or we will realize, the necessity of bringing the change.